You're being recorded, Kyle. I'm watching you. I am watching you.
Okay, stop doing that big brother bullshit. Come on.
Hey, what's up, everybody, and welcome to another edition of On a Couch Talking Sports. As always, I'm Robbie, shaking around in my chair for some reason. Kyle is here as well. Kyle, happy hump day, my friend.
We made it. Well, yeah, halfway there, man. Just
Hump
yeah, excited to be
day,
here.
yeah.
Yeah.
always got to quote the camel. You've always got to quote the camel on hump day. It's just what you got to do. I mean, it's a tradition. It's tradition at this point.
Yep. Oh,
But yeah, exactly, exactly. But no, it's good to be back for another episode of On a Couch Talking Sports, as always. And before we begin tonight's episode, obviously, we want to take this opportunity to throw a special shout out to our sponsor, Zyman Organizing, who is always a great sponsor of ours. Zyman Organizing, if you need help organizing anything in your life, in your home, in your room, definitely give Zyman Organizing a look. They have been doing this for a long time, and they will help you get organized and get yourself on track. So we love Zyman Organizing. They're big fans and friends of the show, and as always, the link will be in the description. So go to Zyman Organizing for all your organizing needs. Now on to the episode. If you watched last week's episode, you'll know that Kyle and I did our best to make predictions for the NFL playoffs, which obviously began this past weekend with the wild card round. So what we wanted to do, which we thought would be kind of fun, is to sort of recap our picks and just see how exactly we did in terms of the first round of our predictions. Because obviously, we are not football prognosticators by any means. We just kind of,
what?
did
I,
our
I am now.
yeah, we did our best. Was really what it came down to. But yeah, we thought it'd be fun to sort of see how we did, and also talk a little Patriots at the end, just given the results of their particular contest from this past weekend, I should say. So let's get into it, and we'll start with our predictions for the AFC wildcard round, where we didn't do half badly. I mean, we kind of we were kind of hit and miss. Actually, I think it was more the NFC. No, it was the NFC. I think we did better on. But regardless, so for the AFC, we'll start with the 2 versus 7 game, which was Kansas City versus Pittsburgh. We both picked the Chiefs. Pretty much a no doubter there, and it was a no doubter of a game as Kansas City easily handled Pittsburgh in that first matchup. So pretty easy one there. The 4-5 matchup we actually kind of differed on. That was like the one game we differed on in terms
Oh,
of
yeah.
picks. Cincinnati versus Las Vegas. I picked Cincinnati. Kyle went with the Raiders. It was a really good game, actually, but at the end of the day, Cincinnati did come out on top for their first postseason win since 1991. So,
Not bad.
big congratulations to the Bengals on that achievement. But yeah, so I did get one up on Kyle in that department in terms of the weekend picks in general, with Cincinnati defeating Vegas. And then the final AFC game, which let's all bow our heads in shame. The Patriots, yeah, I'll just cover your eyes in tears. The Patriots traveled to Buffalo, and I'm not even sure if I could talk about it. I'm getting emotional here, Kyle. Getting emotional. They lost. Yeah, I'm just gonna leave it with that. They lost, and we were wrong with our pick about the Patriots losing, or the Patriots. We both picked the Patriots to beat the Bills. bit of a homer pick on both of our parts, and unfortunately, it kind of kicked us in the face there. But yeah. So on the AFC side, you've got the Chiefs moving on to face the Bills in the divisional round this weekend, and then you've got the Bengals moving on to face the Titans in the divisional round also this coming weekend. So Kyle, I guess let me toss it over to you just for your overall reaction to how we did on our picks and just sort of the weekend, sort of those AFC results in general. Any thoughts?
I mean, I didn't really expect to be right on all of them. I just kind of based a lot of my picks on just the favorite teams essentially. So I'm not gonna lie, I'm just gonna be upfront right there. But I am, it is what it is, and when it comes to playoffs like these, the teams really, they really, I feel like every team did their best, and it was actually nice to see, the Bengals pull through because I didn't realize that they were essentially the underdog team, that they hadn't won since '91. That's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, it sort of the meme or tweet that I saw that sort of perfectly encapsulates that is that literally nobody has ever sent a text message saying that the Bengals have won a playoff game because texting and cell phones and all that good stuff did not obviously really take off until after 1991. So a lot of people, I'm sure, were sending texts about the Bengals winning on Saturday because obviously nobody's ever been able to do that when it comes to playoff games. So pretty wild stuff there. So in terms of this coming weekend in the AFC, I know both Kyle and I have picked. I think both Kyle and I picked Kansas City. Yeah, both of Kyle and I picked Kansas City to be Buffalo, I believe, if I'm remembering that correctly. I didn't go that far back. And then I think we both picked Tennessee to win as well. I picked them to beat the Bengals, and obviously you had picked them to beat the Raiders, but still, we both picked Tennessee to win as well. So I think we were both on the same page in that regard. So I think we both have lined up a Tennessee, Kansas City AFC championship game.
There you go.
So now to the NFC side of things, which kind of are pretty much in lockstep on in terms of our picks. We had Tampa Bay beating Philadelphia, which they did very easily in that 2-7 matchup. I mean, Philadelphia really didn't stand a chance against Brady and the Bucks. And then in the sort of interesting one, Kyle and I both were right on with our upset pick of the weekend with the 49ers defeating the Cowboys in the divisional round. 49ers were able to hold on because the Cowboys are just stupid. But I don't really need to go much further there. But yeah, so we both nailed that 49er pick. And then, the 4-5 matchup. Well, that one, we had the same pick, but kind of like the Patriots with the Bills, the Cardinals, who we both picked to beat the Rams, kind of got their asses kicked by the Rams. So it goes to show you just again how much we know or how little we know when it comes to making these playoff predictions. But yeah, so that sets up for the NFC divisional round this coming weekend. We got the Bucks taking on the Rams, and then we have the Packers, who had the bye obviously this past weekend, hosting the 49ers. So a couple of good matchups coming your way this coming weekend. And Kyle, much like with the AFC, wanted to just again quickly toss it over to you for some thoughts on the results of the NFC weekend that was in terms of playoff action. In particular, I was curious to get your thoughts on the fact that the Bucks and good old Tom Brady are again moving on in the quest to defend their Super Bowl title.
I mean, I pretty much saw that coming like 10,000 miles away. So
yeah, didn't we all? Not surprised there.
So yeah, I mean, I think it seemed like the AFC had definitely more interesting kind of results, as in like more unexpected results, I guess you could say. Whereas here, I could definitely see like it's kind of like the usual as one. It's like the ones you expected kind of went through. So yeah,
Except the Cardinals. Except the Cardinals.
Okay,
Because we were dead wrong on that one. And I think we
Okay,
can
that's
both
true.
really
That's
admit
a good
that. But yeah, so should be an exciting weekend of playoff action coming up here with the divisional round. Some really good matchups. Can't wait to see what happens in sort of the final eight, as it would be, of the NFL playoffs. But I did very quickly here want to touch on, since we were talking about them earlier, the New England Patriots 2021 season obviously did come to an end this weekend with their loss to the Bills. And so I will say this, is that when you look at the expectations for the Patriots when they were entering the season, or even just a few weeks into the season, what the expectations were for this team, the Patriots did definitely defy positively their expectations. And the fact that I don't think anybody at the beginning of the season expected this team to make the playoffs. I don't think anybody after like week 4 of this season expected this team to make the playoffs. And yeah, they were able to bring postseason football back to New England this season. I think that in and of itself makes this season, overall, in my mind at least, a successful one. But Kyle, I kind of wanted to get just so your overall thoughts on this Patriots season as a whole. Obviously, a tough end, a kind of an end that definitely left a sour taste in everybody's mouth in terms of Patriots fans wise. But just when you look at the overall Patriots season, what are your thoughts and reactions as it comes to a close?
I mean, I think it's pretty positive. I mean, I think you said it best too. They're still really building up their team at this point, so it's hard for them when they don't have those mainstays like Brady and Gronk and some of the other ones. So you know what? At this point, I'd say they should just keep pushing forward with their mindset that they have now, and I think Bill Belichick's good. He's a great coach, as we all know. So I think he'll take him through the next season. So yeah, I think they'll get even farther. That's my prediction for next year. I think next season they'll get even farther than they did this year. Maybe not Super Bowl win, but at least I feel like they're gonna. At least if they keep that same kind of momentum going. So
hey, listen, I love it. I love it. I love the fact that Kyle is really putting himself out there right away, not even a week after the season ends, and he's already making those positive picks for next season. And I'm there for it. I love it. I agree with you wholeheartedly. And yeah, it's going to be the one nice thing I will say heading into next season, as opposed to heading into this season, is at least the Patriots have sort of stability at the quarterback position, where like last year it was like, oh, like, is it going to be Cam or is it going to be Mac, or like what's going to happen, blah, 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 blah. Whereas this year it's like we have an entrenched starter now in Mac Jones for the long term. And so I think he can only go up from here, and I look forward to see what he does in the second year coming fall. So so obviously with the end of the Patriot season brings an end to the Robbie's favorite football recap of this 2021 football season. Again, we kind of just went over the Patriots game, so no real need for me to dive even deeper into it with a Robbie's favorite football recap. So beginning next week, we will actually be transitioning into a new segment that I always do sort of post football season. That's Robbie's final thoughts of the evening. So we will be getting that next week on our episode. So very much looking forward to that. And with that being said, and no other real football to talk about here, I'm just going to kick it, no pun intended, right over to Kyle for another rousing edition of the Sue's Reviews. So Kyle, take it away.
All right. So this round actually begins the Sue's Reviews Best of 2021 movies and TV shows, which we'll be getting into that a little later. So right now, I kind of want to just go over very quickly just some of the movies that I watched this year and that I thought were kind of disappointing. I'm not going to say they were overall like the worst movies of all time. You know, I mean, I'm sorry if you've seen Battlefield Earth, then you know how bad movies can get. So, but
I haven't, but I'll take your word for
it. So, but what I did want to start off just going over, and this isn't going to be like a long list or anything. There weren't any movies that I really downright hated this year, I'll be honest, but there were some that really kind of, when I watched it initially, and then I don't know, it just kind of left like, you know, it's one of those things where after you watch some of these movies, I just really felt that they could have done so much better. They had a great premise for the most part in most of these movies, but I feel like they really could have executed a lot better. So I'll start off by let's see. I have a lot of movies that I'm going to talk about, but we'll save all the other ones and all the movies and shows for later. So I'm going to start off with this sci-fi movie called Reminiscence, starring Hugh Jackman. It's a movie that, you know, like I said before, has an interesting concept, but I don't know what it is. Like the way they did it was just very forgettable. Like when I look back at this movie, I can't really remember what it's about. And I feel like that says a lot. If you watch a movie and you can't remember, even if it's like a few months after you've seen it, then I think the movie really isn't just memorable for you. And I think that was the case here. You know, I mean, Hugh Jackman is a great actor. There was no problem with the acting or anything, but it was just, I don't know. I just thought the story was a little bit convoluted at times. It had to do something with it was a very futuristic kind of story, and it had to do with a lot of memory wiping, and like this guy, I think he had to like find a gap in his memory or something like that to kind of piece together this mystery that was going on. But yeah, it was okay. It was you know, I mean, whatever. I feel it's one of those movies where see it at your own will. At your own risk. I mean, if you like it, great. I would love to hear what you guys think. If you disagree with me and if you say, "Oh, this is the most memorable movie of 2021," then I would love to hear your opinion on it. So, with that said, going on to The Matrix Resurrections. This is an interesting movie too, because I love the Matrix series, and yes, I enjoy even the ones that weren't quite as good, like The Matrix Reloaded and Revolutions, the ones that people didn't like as much. But this one just kind of left a weird taste in my mouth. Even though Matrix Resurrections had Keanu Reeves and Carrie-Anne Moss back, it just, I don't know. I had a hard time trying to figure out why this movie existed. Like, what was the point of this movie? Because I felt like they did a great job telling the story with the original trilogy, at least. Like, at least they had a beginning, middle, and end with the trilogy. Whereas in Resurrections, it just kind of, I feel like they just kind of put it out there. And there's just really, you're like, okay, why? But, you know, it's one of those movies that maybe years down the line, maybe it'll become like a cult classic. Maybe it'll kind of, it could be one of those things where maybe down the line me or other people will just kind of look at it as one of those like misunderstood movies because of how different it is. And I do like how different it is. Like, I do appreciate that they were trying to go for something different than the other movies, but it was it was an interesting one. It's you know, that's another one I'd really like to hear people's opinions on. I want, because some people I've heard say they loved it, other people I heard say they hated it, they thought it was the worst movie. But you know, I thought it was somewhere in the middle. Just a little disappointing. Like if you kind of go into it thinking like it's like the original three. But I guess if you kind of go into it more with like a satire kind of mindset, then maybe it'll be a better movie. So that's why maybe I'll have to rewatch it again at some point. So, really quick last two, Halloween Kills, which is the middle chapter of this new Halloween series that they kind of rebooted. It's a reboot, something alternate universe. It's confusing. Like I'll have to take like a separate video just to explain the whole Halloween timeline. I'm not even joking. There's like 3 alternate timelines and a reboot series. It's too confusing. Like you cannot follow that series to save your life. Oh my god. Um, but anyways, so basically they did a new revamped series where they back in 2018 they did one called Halloween, and it's supposed to be like an alternate Halloween 2, and then they released Halloween Kills, which is the follow up. And I thought the 2018 Halloween was really good. It was a really good follow up. I thought they had a good story and everything. The horror was really great. They kind of tried to do more of the original John Carpenter Halloween 1978 vibe, but this one just kind of felt, I don't know, it felt a little kind of hammy at times, and I thought the writing wasn't really as good in Halloween Kills, and a lot of the characters I thought were just kind of wasted, and I don't know, and also it just kind of like it pushed the horror sequel trope where things just kind of got really silly, and I thought it was kind of weird because the first movie took itself very seriously, and they tried to get that tone from the original, but then it just, I don't know, I feel like the second movie just kind of lost its way a bit. And that's another one where I kind of thought was like, okay, what was the point of this movie exactly? But and I thought honestly, if I thought it could have been a lot better. They could have done a really good job with it if they really kind of knew where to take the story, but they didn't. But on the other hand, there is going to be a director's cut coming out, so I'll have to watch that, and maybe I'll throw that on the next Sue's reviews or any future Sue's reviews. And last but not least, or maybe least, Injustice, the animated movie. So Injustice basically is it's a superhero storyline where basically Superman turns evil because the Joker tricks Superman into killing Lois, and the Joker blows up Metropolis, basically creating an evil Superman. And the story itself is very interesting. It's actually based on a video game and comic storyline, but the animated movie I feel like just kind of just blows through all that storyline that you kind of saw in the comics and video game, and doesn't really leave room for a lot of character development. You kind of just see things happen as you watch the movie. So it literally just came out on HBO Max, so you can watch it there, but it's okay if you're a fan of the other source material. I would say just stick to the video games and the comics. Injustice, the animated movie, I'd say you can skip that one. So yeah.
Very good, very good. Well, I mean, always glad to hear a good old fashioned rundown of the year that was in terms of movies, or at least movies that you partook in this past year, or from last year, I should say. So thank you, Kyle, as always, for that. And yeah, it was another riveting Sue's reviews. I was hanging on the edge of my seat. Not really, but it was the thought that counts. But anyway, so that's going to wrap up another edition here of On a Couch Talking Sports. Again, big thank you to Zyman Organizing for sponsoring us, and a big shout out to the other 2 shows that Kyle and I have both somewhat parts in, sort of the trilogy of sports shows and just shows in general that we have in our podcast trilogy, our YouTube trilogy, and that being the Sports Blitz, which new episode coming out later this week, so definitely keep an eye out for that. And Marvel at the Movies, which
a new one coming pretty soon. So
yeah, new one coming out. Yep, definitely new episode coming out soon of that as well. Always a great watch or listen for everybody out there. So thanks as always for the support in all those endeavors. And as always, for here on A Couch Talking Sports, you can find us on YouTube. You could find us on Facebook. You could find us on Twitter. And you can find us on Instagram. We're all over the place. We literally are in your face 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. No, I'm just kidding. But anyway, as always, that's Kyle up there, at least on my screen. I'm Robbie. And thank you so much for joining us on this edition of On a Couch Talking Sports. And we will see you next time. Bye, everybody.